Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the fabulous Red Bull Ring for round 6 of the 2021 Euroformula Open Championship. A beautiful afternoon here in the Austrian countryside. The cars are about to make their way out onto the circuit, which has hosted Formula One 4 times in the past 12 months. What a sight this is as we look backwards down the hill from turn 3 over the Syrian countryside. A small crowd that is building here. Thankfully, they are not continuing on with this facade of covering their faces out in the open sunshine. We do have a small crowd here building up ready for race 1 here of 3 here this afternoon at the Red Bull Ring. We were forecast rain earlier in the week. That has not eventuated, thankfully, and we've got a beautiful afternoon, 24 degrees. The cars coming out onto the circuit. 2 new drivers with us this weekend, one making their series return. And on your screen, Rached De Geris, who comes across from the FIA Formula 3 Championship. Great to have the driver from the Reunion Islands in the Indian Ocean with us this weekend. Jack Crawford took pole position in qualifying, a nail-biting session. The Americans will lock out the front row of the grid. Jack will start from pole position. Alongside him, the driver on your screen, car 28, Cameron Dass, who is also just the championship leader. We will look at the championship for you throughout the course of race 1 here this afternoon, and of course race 2 tomorrow morning and race 3 in 24 hours time. A dry circuit, the cars out on their sighting lap before they will form up on the grid, which we'll take a look at for you in its entirety in just a moment. This is Cameron Dass. He has got the championship lead coming into this round 6 of the 2021 championship. 228 points from Lewis Foster. 224 points for the English driver, and Crawford in 3rd place is the pole sitter on 180 points, in fact 182 after getting those bonus points for qualifying this morning. A glorious afternoon here in Austria. Round 6 of 8 for 2021. Of course, we started in conjunction with the Portuguese Formula 1 Grand Prix at the Portimão circuit down on the Algarve coast in the south of Portugal at the start of the season. From here we go to Monza in 2 weeks' time, the circuit which is otherwise occupied this weekend with the Italian Formula 1 Grand Prix, the Italian circuit which next year will celebrate 100 years, a century of motor racing, one of the oldest circuits in the world. Still active, of course, and then we go to Barcelona in Catalonia on the 23rd of October for the season final of the 2021 championship. The Dallara EF320 cars out on the circuit. This is Enzo Trulli, car 15. Carlin Racing from England, the legendary team of Trevor Carlin racing in Formula 3, Formula 2, even IndyCar, and of course back with us in Euroformula Open with a 2-car attack. 15 is Enzo Trulli, the 16-year-old Italian, having his first look at the Austrian circuit in his first year of car racing. And he's joined by a series returnee, Brad Benavides, the American in car 71, also for Carlin Motorsport. Carlin Racing, I should say. Zdenek Chovanec, R Racing. Here's the Czech, Portuguese, Venezuelan driver, car 66. He will line up on grid 13 in just a moment. So thankfully, dry conditions here this afternoon for the first of our 3 races this weekend. We did start the season in Portugal before going to Paul Ricard in the south of France as you look at Jack Crawford. 3rd round of the series at Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. The Hungaroring, Imola just before the summer break on the 3rd weekend of July as Jack, car 52, on pole position. Here the Red Bull Ring, Monza in 2 weeks, and Barcelona the series final in October. Cameron Dass, the championship leader, so the American drivers lock out the front row of the grid. Position 3, Louis Foster for the Crypto Tower Racing team, the 2nd generation racer from England. And alongside him, Chambolik Basi, already a race winner in 2021. He was fastest yesterday in practice, sat in 10th for much of qualifying before improving in the dying stages of qualifying this morning. He will start grid 4. This is Rached De Geris, the French driver from the Reunion Islands, joining us from the FIA Formula 3 Championship. Natsim Adsman, the Malaysian driver for Crypto Tower Racing. Rafael Villagomez, the Mexican for Van Amersfoort Racing, starts out at grid 7 in car 8 alongside Enzo Trulli for Carlin Racing. There is Rafa. This is Enzo, the Italian driver for the English team. Two-car attack for Carlin Racing here this weekend. Enzo, grid 8, the fourth row of the grid. Casper Stevenson from London in England, also for Fritz Van Amersfoort's outfit. Josh Mason, another English driver. On the fifth row of the grid is Josh for Double R Racing. And we're about to have a look at Brad Benavides, car 71. Born in Florida, USA, now residing in Spain. Great to have Brad back in the field after making his car racing debut in the final round of the 2018 Euroformula Championship at Barcelona, where we raced the season final on the 23rd of October. Then we go to Philip Caminias, car 88, for the Crypto Tower Racing team.
Apply the comments. I'm sure you can do a good job, okay? Okay.
Encouraging words for the pole. Then we go to Zdenek Chovanec, this weekend representing Portugal. 3 passports does he have. And then Enzo Scianti, the American, on the final grid position. 4 Americans racing with us this weekend. Previously, we raced at Imola, one of multiple Formula 1 Grand Prix circuits on the 2021 calendar. It was a brilliant weekend for Jack Crawford, who would take 2 race victories. Enzo Trulli back with Carlin Racing. This is his first run with the English team. Not the best run for Philip Caminias, who ended race 1 in the grass. Roman Stanek was with us, the Czech driver. He had a brilliant weekend in the one-off drive. But Jack Crawford would take race 1 at Imola. We came back the next morning. Roman Stanek, the Czech, took the fight up to Crawford, who had to start from grid 6. Rafa Villagomez was briefly the race leader. Jack Crawford and Roman Stanek went wheel to wheel in race 2. It was a brilliant fight between the Czech and the American. Stanek held on to take his maiden victory in Euroformula Open from pole position. Jack Crawford was simply uncatchable in race 3. Roman Stanek tried to stay with him as Brendan Lee Oxley and Zdenek Chovanec went into the gravel on the opening lap of the race. Enzo Trulli was forced to retire, as were the 3 Van Amersfoort racing cars, who all came together. Philip Caminias coming together in the dying stages of the race. As Josh Mason ended in the gravel, Jack was on the top step of the podium. And with that, the American moves into 3rd in the championship. His countryman in position 1 on 228 points. Foster, P2 on 224. Crawford, Adsman, Casper Stevenson, Rafa Villagomez, and Enzo Trulli in his first year in car racing. He's not far out of the top 6. Welcome to the fabulous Red Bull Ring here in Austria. We are getting ready for race 1 of 3 here this weekend. The Americans lock out the front row of the grid. Jack Crawford on pole alongside Cameron Dass. Louis Foster, second in the series. He's 3rd on the grid alongside the young Turk from Istanbul for Van Amersfoort Racing, Cembolok Basi. On debut in the Euroformula Open Championship, Rashid Dejeris, Natsim Asman, Rafa Villagomez, Enzo Trulli, Casper Stevenson, Josh Mason starts out of 10. Welcome back to Euroformula Open. Brad Benavides, who starts alongside the pole in car 88, Philippe Caminias, Zdenek Chovanec, and the 2nd Texan, the 4th American, Enzo Scianti, out of grid 14. Ian Silvestron with you once again, delighted to be joined by Ida Wood. This will be a fantastic race. The 2 Americans starting on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, it's going to be super close between these two. They are fighting for the title. Crawford a little further back. He's shown he does have the pace. Was his 4th pole of the season, his 3rd in a row. Cameron Dass, he's leading the points by a substantial margin. Louis Foster is between those two, but on the grid, he is right behind Jack Crawford and kind of alongside Cameron Dass if you look at the race of the grid. And helpfully at the Red Bull Ring here, we have these little yellow strips at each grid slot. So if you're driving, you're in your single seat, you can't actually see where your front wheels are going to be on those grid markers. Having this yellow line tells you where you need to park up, which is going to be incredibly useful. Now, the start of this lap is all uphill. You come away quite far down the pit straight already from the starting lights. Then it's up to the first corner, so right-hand bend. Then it's a very long straight with a bit of a kink in it, but we kind of consider it a straight, down to the Ramus hairpin. Now, that is where Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen famously had a bit of a last lap battle in the Austrian Grand Prix a few years ago. And it's where we do see a lot of action in these Dallara 320 cars. They're lightweight, they're full of power, downforce, incredibly nimble cars as well. And at a circuit like this, where you want aerodynamic performance in the final sector, but you don't want to be bogged down by downforce in the first two, it's always good to have a very lightweight car that can allow you to essentially play around a bit and turn around the corners. And because of, it's a clockwise layout, I think we've only got 2 left-hand corners, the wheel that you basically tilt all 4 wheels in one direction, the cambering of them, to make sure you can turn very, very well around those right-handers.
We have had 6 different winners throughout 2021. Cameron Dass, Jack Crawford, Foster, Stevenson, the 2 English drivers. Cem Bolek-Basi, of course, took a famous win in Hungary, and Roman Stanek before the summer break, the Czech taking victory in race 2 at Imola. Will we have 7 winners by the end of the weekend? Not if Jack Crawford has anything to say about it. You look at the Texan, the Red Bull Junior here at the Red Bull Ring on pole position. Welcome to the home of the Austrian Formula One Grand Prix. Race 1 of 3, Euroformula Open, round 6 of the 2021 championship. The 5 red lights for the first time this weekend. We race. Not the best start for Enzo Trulli further back in the pack. A perfect start from Jack, who leads down into turn 1. Cameron Dass up the inside as Foster goes wide, launches over the ripple strip at the exit of Lauda, curve 1. Crawford leads the field up the hill for the first time. Louis Foster in second place. Cameron Dass going wheel to wheel with Rachid De Geris, who has made a brilliant start. The French driver in P4 trying to go into third. He may well do it as Foster and Dass go side by side, running off the circuit. One of the Van Amersfoort racing cars, one of the 3 VAR cars, as Jack heads the field down the back straight for the first time. Trying to break the slipstream is Louis Foster in second place. Cameron Dass, the championship leader, sees his countryman disappear down the road. Half a lap into the opening stages of this race. Crawford in position 1. Foster in second place, trying to withstand the charge from Cameron Dass, Rachid De Geris, Cem Bolek-Basi. We're looking for the Turk in car 74. There he is. He's made a great start, as has the Malaysian Nazi Marksman.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant run for Rachid De Geris, because this is his very first start using a clutch that's quite difficult to master, and he managed to gain a position off the line, currently running in 4th place. But Jack Crawford going down to the final 2 sectors, already a second up on the drivers behind him. So he's got a gap to Louis Foster in second place, who jumped past Cameron Dass. Dass now in 3rd, De Geris 4th, Bolek-Basi 5th, Asman 6th, and Enzo Trulli has already recovered back up to 10th place. We saw him stall at the start and get overtaken by everyone, so great recovery there. I think that was Bolek-Basi running very wide on the exit at turn 1, as we saw Foster do on first lap.
Cem just does get away with it. As we get news from race control, you can see at the top of your screen, under investigation is the start. Cem Bolek-Basi in position 5 at the moment. Axman just behind. Then Rafa Villagomez, Casper Stevenson was the VAR car that ran off the road on the opening lap. Josh Mason, Trulli Benavides, Caminias, Zdenek and Enzo Shanti rounds out the field. Louis Foster sets off after the Texan, the pole sitter, the race leader, Jack Crawford.
That's going to be very good for Jack, because he's already broken the slipstream to Louis Foster, whereas Foster's got kind of a similar advantage to Cameron Dass, but Cameron Dass is actually being pushed forward by Rachid De Geris behind him. That's actually pushing the air behind his car and bringing him slightly closer to Foster in second place. So it's really a big battle behind. Jack Crawford, though, setting the fastest sectors of anyone at 38.3 in the second sector this lap. He is now well over a second clear of the chasing pack.
The two English drivers just a little bit further back. Casper Stevenson, position 8. Josh Mason behind. And it's Enzo Trulli. There is Bologbashi going through. So the race settles down. Crawford, Foster, Cameron Dass, Rashad, I should say, DeGeris. A great drive coming over from the FIA Formula 3 Championship as Foster was sideways on the exit of Lauda turn 1. Crawford with the fastest lap of the race at this early stage. He is 1 second clear of the rest of the pack. Behind Atzman, you can see Villagomez, Stevenson, Josh Mason, and Enzo Trulli. Race 1 of 3, Euroformula Open. This is round 6 of the championship as Zdeněk Chovanec goes side by side with Philip Caminhas. Fabulous racing between the Portuguese driver and the pole, and Enzo Shanti, the second Texan, the fourth American, trying to join into that battle as well.
Yeah, it's a brilliant side-by-side battle there. Caminhas held the position. He came in there with 12th place and he left as well. We have seen some instance there during this weekend. Jack Crawford now coming down the hill. We've had quite a lot of gravel thrown onto this bit of the track, but it looks like it's been cleared up before this Euroformula race started, which is great to see. Here is a replay of the start that is under investigation. And yeah, wow, that jump start from Rashad DeGeris. I said he was got good clutch control, but apparently not. He's clearly jumped the start there. Yeah, and see Trulli in last place. So he fell down to 14th. He was already back up to 10th by the end of the lap. Or actually, Enzo Shanti, so he must have been held up behind Trulli.
Take a look at this from the third row of the grid. A fantastic start by Rashad DeGeris, but probably almost definitely too good. The start is under investigation. Enzo Trulli, as you say, Ida Wood, joining me in commentary as we look at Foster launching over the ripple strip at the exit of turn 1. It was too good for Rashad DeGeris, it would seem. We will wait for others to decide that. Enzo Trulli almost stalled it, did a fantastic job to recover. The young Italian, this is his first time at the Austrian circuit. He's in position 10. Brad Benavides, the American, right behind the Italian. Zdeněk Chovanec, he is still defending in the background. You can see Philip Caminhas behind him and Enzo Shanti in that battle as well. There is Enzo's father, Jarno Trulli, winner of the 2004 Monaco Formula 1 Grand Prix, was watching his boy from various parts of the circuit make the long walk up the hill to turn 3 to try and see exactly where Enzo was placing the Carlin car, number 15, around the circuit. Of course, it was a decade ago that Jarno last race here at the Red Bull Ring, as in the background,
Bologbashi, I think he did that at Imola as well. Yeah, he four-wheel slides straight off the road, which, you know, looks spectacular, but it's better if you don't do it. And I think another car's done the same thing. That's Josh Mason in the RR racing car. He's currently in 9th place. So maybe there's a little bit of gravel just before turn 5, because 2 cars have gone sliding there. He's now under pressure from Enzo Trulli for that 9th place.
Enzo Trulli, that we were just speaking about, senses his opportunity, closes in on the back of Josh Mason. He'll get the toe. The Englishman knows it, will try and break it as they race down the straight. A great recovery from Enzo Trulli. He'll try and pick up another place down into Lauda turn 1 as well. Casper Stevenson going through. How lucky was Bologbashi? He threw it off the road, 4 wheels into the gravel, but the Turk in car 74 is still in position 5.
Yeah, and hopefully we're going to see a replay of it. Here is Chovanec actually making the move on Caminhas at turn 9. Took the inside line, so this was 2 laps ago. Look, didn't actually force him wide, so he got through very cleanly and through turn 10, so that's a well-executed move for 12th place. But of course, Caminhas stayed on his rear. Enzo Shanti right behind him as well. Hopefully we're going to see a replay of that Bologbashi drifting moment. Here's Josh Mason's moment. So he's coming through, took a little too much speed because that corner tightens as it goes back uphill, and it can be very almost blind because of how the crest moves. And that's actually Louis Foster, so we've gone back to live images. Louis Foster's gone wide there as well through turn 5. Cameron Dass all over him now. Foster, I was going to say, potentially has some damage because when he jumped over those turn 1 curbs, it's a pretty heavy landing, and normally cars don't come from that unscathed.
Yes, well picked, Ida. That was a nice move by Zdeněk Chovanec just a few moments ago. We've had 3 or 4 cars running off the circuit. The thought was running through my mind, do we have some sort of fluid on the circuit, or is it just the early stages of the races? Crawford is gone. Foster under attack from Cameron Dass. There is Rashad in the background. Still no word from race control after that start, that super start from the Frenchman. Bologbashi in P5. Atzman, Villagomez, as Foster breaks the air for Dass. And Rashad in the background. The field spread out, the opening stages of race 1 of 3 here this weekend. Car 28, Cameron Dass on your screen, the championship leader in position 3.
Now, Das would have his lead cut only very slightly here with Louis Foster in second place. Jack Crawford has already scored a point this weekend by taking pole position. He'd be scoring 10 more than Cameron Das right now, but he is, I think, 58 points back in the standings in third place because he has missed 5 races already this season. So he is very much a title outsider, but he's leading the way. Yeah, there's definitely fluid there because that was opposite lock for 2 of the cars.
Cameron Das lucky to keep it on the road, and look behind Richard De Geras closes up on the back of the American, the championship leader. Bolokbashi going through ahead of Atzman, Villagomez, Casper Stevenson, Josh Mason, Enzo Trulli still in position. Den trying to fight his way by and take the English driver. Benavides, Chervenak. We have had no word yet from race control regarding the start. Neither if there is anything on the circuit. There is no striped red and yellow flag, which would indicate there is fluid on the circuit. But you saw Cameron Das almost throw his race and potentially his championship away there just a few moments ago. Jack Crawford is gone, 2.7 seconds down the road. Foster in second place, and at the moment the championship leader in position 3.
Yeah, so potentially with the fluid issue, while race control, makes the decisions, they're dependent on marshals actually reporting things to them. So unless a marshal can see something, they can't report it. And fluid tends to be very, very thin layout if it's a lubricant, so it'd be a very difficult spot. Opposite lock there through turn 1. Richard De Geras chasing Cameron Das. Now he is 4.3 seconds behind Jack Crawford. He's got a handy margin of 3 seconds almost to Chen Bolokbashi behind. If he does get declared that he's jumped the start, probably a 10-second penalty, which would drop him down to, I think, outside of the points. But it's a very good debut race for Richard De Geras so far.
We haven't heard anything yet, so maybe it was just the greatest start we have seen in the 2021 championship. Usually we've got CCTV cameras all around the circuit. They can pick it within just a few moments. We're, 6 laps in and nothing yet from race control. Richard De Geras just a place off the podium and almost off the road there. Jack Crawford. The gap is 2.8 seconds. The American goes by. And Louis Foster in second place. We'll check the gap. It's out to 3 seconds. Jack is driving away. Foster in second place. Cameron Das. Richard in P4. Chen Bolokbashi. And we're getting word now from race control. The team manager of Car 10, that is Richard De Geras.
And we can see him in the pit lane. We can see him in the pit lane walking over to Garage 1, which takes you up to race control. So he'll hopefully have the data at hand and go, did my driver jump the start? Possibly not, possibly he did. And that's kind of the discussion they have there. Cameron Das now, though, has set the fastest lap at 1:24.266. 3.6 seconds back. So we've got Motorpark, Crypto Tower, Motorpark, and our top 4 cars, all covered by less than 5 seconds at the moment.
Fritz van Amersfoort on your screen. His best charger at the moment is Chen Bolokbashi in position 5, and we just off screen, you didn't see it, but we could see Timo Rumpkale, team manager of Motorpark and Team Crypto Tower. As soon as that graphic came up on our screen, he made the quick march upstairs to see the stewards. No doubt to review the footage before the stewards make a decision. That's actually good officiating.
Yeah, it wasn't quite an Alan McNeish run though. Quite, not quite the London E-Prix sprint across the pit lane, but it was.
He was up there quite quickly.
It was a good walk still, yeah.
With them as we speak at the moment.
And now we've got a warning flag for car 66, track limits at the final corner. That's Chervenak. Now Villagomez, who's currently in 7th place, he's had several warnings, I believe, already at that corner. He did in qualifying, did in practice. He actually had additional lap times deleted beyond the ones he actually violated track limits on because of that. It was such an issue. As we return to the battle towards the front, Louis Foster 3 tenths ahead of Cameron Das at the moment. Cameron Das was the faster driver last time round by 4 tenths of a second, so I think he could potentially dive down the inside of turn 3. He's going to think about it. Foster holds his line. De Geras has dropped back a little bit, and Philippe Miniars now is a lap down, so we've got to see what's happened to him. He's currently in last place.
So Jack Crawford is now 3.6 seconds down the road. Louis Foster under enormous pressure from Cameron Das. He gets the toe, pulls to his left, to your right. We'll try the outside line. Louis Foster in second place. Closes the door. Cameron Das has to try again. And Richard De Geras, under investigation, we believe, closes in ever so slightly on this battle for second place. Side by side as they race down the hill. Foster versus Das. Louis still in second place. There is Richard in the background, catching the both of them. That is where they ran off the road in the early stages of the race. We are approaching half race distance already, and Jack Crawford 4.4 seconds down the road. Richard De Geras has closed right up on the back. of Cameron Dass. There's Denik Chauvenet going wide, and that is why Philip Caminiaz is a lap down. Loops it, coming through the final Jochen curve, coming on to the straight, lucky to keep it off the wall. He has rejoined, he is a lap down, the pole still in the race. In the final position, car 10, a close-up, a fantastic close-up of Richard de Geris. He will almost get the toe from Cameron Dass. He does likewise on the back of Louis Foster, not as close as he was a lap ago as Jack disappears at the bottom of your screen, 4.4 seconds down the road.
Yeah, and Caminiaz was helped there slightly because the runoff at the final corner actually goes back uphill, so it slows you down massively, which helps in avoiding the barriers. Now, Louis Foster leading this train in quite a few races this year. He struggled with going through the tyres a little quicker than Cameron Dass. Compared to the rest of the drivers, not too much of a difference, but when these two have been battling very, very closely, as these small margins appear, and for tyre management, Foster has been slightly worse than Dass on this front. So he'll be sitting in front knowing he's got track position. He's got the advantage right now because although there are a lot of overtaking opportunities at the circuit, there isn't too much overtaking in too many races. But later into the race, and with this sun beating down on the circuit at the moment, track temperature I think was north of 30 degrees as this race began, with air temperatures around 23. It does mean Dass could become, even bigger thorn in his side towards the end.
The three drivers on your screen, we should point out they are all powered by the Space engine. There is the Opel Space engine. There is Jack Crawford going through into turn one. It is an open formula, thus the title Euroformula Open. The Dallara EF320 F3 spec car. It is a beautiful racing car as Jack races up the hill. Foster, Dass and Richard, who closes in as these two still fight. Cameron in position 3, very close to the back of the English driver. Crypto Tower Racing and Motor Park running 1, 2, 3, 4. Chembolok Bashi for Van Amersfoort Racing out of shot at the moment. He's in position 5. Louis Foster checks the mirrors. The American, the championship leader, is right behind you, Louis. And Richard still holds position 4 for the moment. There is no problem for the French driver. A fantastic start off the line. He's in P4. Has pulled away from Chembolok Bashi, who ran off the road in the early stages of the race. Almost throws it into the gravel right there, and then does the French driver. A big moment, had to correct, had to slightly get out of the throttle. Loses time to Cameron Dass, does Richard de Geris. And Foster still in position 2. Jack Crawford getting, just clawing his way up the point score. He has missed a couple of races, and with the recent rescheduling of the FIA Formula 3 Championship, they will not race in Austin, Texas. They go to Russia in 2 weeks' time. That is our loss. It is Jack Crawford's gain. And finally, well, it was too good a start. We get word that the start from Richard de Geris was too good. He's got a 5-second penalty.
And that is going to drop him from 4th to 6th place. So he was on course for his best results since the 2019 French F4 season, which is quite a long time ago. Now he'd probably still be his best result in about 1.5 years. But, he hasn't really been this high up the order in such a long time. But now he knows he has a penalty. He has nothing to lose in pushing the drivers ahead of him. Obviously, they're teammates, so you don't want to push too hard in battle. But the further forward he gets, track position is still going to mean something.
There's confirmation at the top of your screen. Richard de Geris, who, take a look at this magnificent slow-mo of Jack going through turn 1. Richard de Geris finishing second twice in the French F4 Championship 2018. That was actually Tadej Pogačar, who took victory in Formula 2 at Monza earlier this morning. Richard de Geris on debut in Euroformula Open, a 5-second penalty. At the moment, that will drop him down, yes, to 6th, 7th position. Natsim Atzman in P6 at the moment. Villa Gomez, Casper Stevenson P8, Josh Mason 9. Still holding off Enzo Trulli. Foster and Dass run 2 and 3. They gap 5.5 seconds. Jack Crawford is driving away. He is one of 6 race winners in 2021. He is 3rd in the championship on 180 points. Foster second on 224. And Cameron Dass is the championship leader still on 228. As they race up the hill, Foster has to go defensive. Cameron Dass tries the outside lane. And Foster closes the door. Once again, Cameron stays in position 3. Another opportunity for Richard de Geras, disregarding the 5-second penalty. He's driving superbly on debut in Euroformula Open. Louis Foster, Cameron Dass goes side by side. They race down the hill. Louis Foster just drives across the front of Cameron Dass's front wing. He's in front. He can put the car where he wants. He does so. Dives down the inside, does Cameron Dass. But Foster still holds the racing line and he's still ahead of him. Richard de Geras in the background. P4 with a 5-second penalty. That will ultimately drop him at least to 5th or 6th place come the end of the race. Crawford, 5.9 seconds. 6 seconds, we'll call it, ahead of this battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th. This is Natsim Atzman. Great run from the Malaysian here this afternoon. In car 18, he's in position 6, may well inherit 5th place, depending on where that penalty falls. Rafa Villagomez ahead of his teammate, the Londoner Casper Stevenson, who started the 2021 racing season over in the golf, racing in the Asian Formula 3 Championship in a vastly different car. This is a much lighter, much more nimble, and let's be brutally honest, it is much faster car, a much faster car than that. He's absolutely reveling racing this Dallara EF320 car. Casper Stevenson in position 8. Car 25 for Van Amersfoort Racing. Enzo Trulli and Josh Mason still round out the top 10. As they race down the hill, Brad Benavides, welcome back to Euroformula for the 4th American in the Euroformula Championship. He's in position 11 ahead of Chauvenet, Enzo Shanti and Philippe Caminias.
And Chauvenet's now been handed a 2-second time penalty for track limits violation. So track limits are still being watched by race control. They don't want people gaining an advantage by cutting across. Now Chauvenet won't actually lose a position here. He's 9 seconds clear of Enzo Scianti, so he'll stay in 12th place. So all he has to do now is just make sure he doesn't violate track limits again, because if you repeat the offence, then the penalties get more severe.
7 laps remaining of this legendary Austrian circuit, which was built back in 1970. Confirmation of the penalty for Zdeněk Chauvenet. Sideways on the exit of turn 1 for Louis Foster. Cameron Dass tries to get the run, the slipstream this time. Does close in ever so slightly on the English driver in 2nd place. Field in the background, you can see Atzman, Villagomez, Stevenson, Trulli and Mason. So this penalty for Richard de Geras, we're quickly trying to do some mathematics on the run. It will drop into probably 7th or 8th position, depending on what happens in the remaining 6.5 laps of race 1 of 3 here this weekend. This is round 6 of the 2021 Championship, which started in support of the Portuguese Formula 1 Grand Prix way back in March, I think it was, or April, the start of the year. Then we went to Paul Ricard in the south of France, Spa-Francorchamps, the Hungaroring in Budapest in Eastern Europe, Imola before the summer break. This is round 6 here in Austria, 2 weeks' time at Monza, and the season final at Barcelona in Catalonia on the 2nd last week of October.
And we'll potentially have more cars on the grid at Monza.
We will.
Potentially a 3rd car at Carlin. We're going to have some changes because of this FIA free clash, and there'll be a new team. We don't know what engine they're going to use yet, but exciting noises coming from Italy about that, which is going to be really exciting to see.
Let's just say welcome back to an Italian team. We cannot name them at the moment, but there will be another team on the grid, and for 2022 it's looking good as well. This is the 2nd year using the Dallara EF320, as Enzo Trulli going through, and Josh Mason in the background loses time on the Italian as he runs off the road in the Niki Lauda turn 1. 2022, the calendar to be released in the near future. It is looking good. More cars, more teams, more drivers on the way. They have seen that this is the best F3 spec car outside, of course, of the official FIA F3 Championship, which is, well, it's not really apples and oranges. That's a V6 powered car pushing out nearly 400 horsepower. This is a traditional, fast, light F3 spec car. It is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, 100 or so kilograms lighter, and with the recent FIA changes, there is technically only one FIA F3 series in the world now. So this is more just following the full history of junior single-seater racing, taking the best ideas and design and applying them to his single chassis, which is what Dallara has done with the 320. Raced in Japan as well. We've got Superformula lights going over there. It's a shame Macau can't take place this year as Josh Mason goes wide again. Now, he did that at turn 1, done it at turn 3 on the same lap. Maybe his tyres are getting a little worse for wear. Jack Crawford's still lowering his pace. Look at Josh Mason's lap times. Now he's dropped to 12th place. He's still running at a fairly consistent pace, so don't think that's degradation. I think that's purely just driver error there. But as we see with the heat coming down here, with how much rubber's already been laid down by other series, at one point the tyres are going to kind of drop off and the lap times are going to get a bit slower and the car's going to be a bit more of a handful to drive. And this is where, in the battle between Louis Foster and Cameron Dass that we're following right now, it's going to get really spicy when that happens.
Cameron Dass is actually the fastest driver on the circuit at the moment. He's lapping even quicker than the race leader, although I'll suggest that Jack is actually controlling the pace. He is 6.3 seconds down the road as Josh Mason off-screen pulls into pit lane. A 1:24.4 last time round for Cameron Dass, but still, the problem for him is Louis Foster is ahead of him. It doesn't matter his lap times if he finishes in position 3. That's the points he'll get. Josh Mason, the Double R team. The engine is switched off and the Englishman, it looks as though he is the first to retire that from race 1 here this week, and that's a disappointment for Josh. He suffered a similar fate at Imola in race 1 as Jack comes across the line. This kid is a talent. Yes, he's a Red Bull-backed driver. There have been so many of them in the past decade on their home circuit. The quietly spoken Texan from Houston, USA, has been a revelation since he made his debut in race 3. In round 1 in Portugal, he couldn't race the season opener on the Saturday because he was not yet old enough. Turned 16 on the Sunday and drove from the back of the grid to finish, 6th off memory. And ever since, he has really set the pace throughout the 2021 championship.
And in this championship this year, you get an extra 2 points for the most positions gained within a race. Now, I'm not really sure who would have done it because most of the position gains have been just one or two spots. Enzo Trilli obviously lost a load of positions and has then regained them, but that doesn't count. Chembolek Bassi, he's started 4th. So Reshad De Gueris, once his penalty is applied, will lose the positions he's gained. I'm really not sure who could gain these extra points, and it's worth more than pole or fastest lap, so it's really something to fight for in this championship. Going back to Louis Foster, 6 tenths up on Cameron Dass with 4 laps to go. Now it is a 1:24 lap. They're still lapping in the 1:24, so the Motorpark and Crypto Tower drivers have really looked after their tyres well here, and they've kept them going. Probably going to last the full distance in this rate. If we suddenly see them dropping into the 1:25s, that's when Cameron Dass knows if he can pounce, or maybe Reshad De Gueris could close in as well.
Spectacular slow-mo images just a few moments ago of the driver on your screen, Reshad De Gueris. He's in P4. There's Chembolek Bassi, a good quiet drive for the Turk. In P5, may well inherit 4th place. Of course, took that fabulous win in Budapest earlier on in the championship. Also racing in the European GT4 Championship. Vastly different machines. The car that we just spoke about on your screen is Dallara F3 spec EF320 car versus a GT4 BMW. There's Van Amersfoort Racing. 3 cars here this weekend with Chem, Casper, and of course Rafa from Mexico. Just to give you an idea of the speed of these cars, into qualifying they were almost into the 121s. And 122 dead was basically pole position. That would put them near on the back of the grid in an FIA Formula 3 race, which is pretty impressive. As we say, they're powered by a V6 engine putting out near on 400 horsepower.
And in FIA 3 qualifying, the slipstream effect was massive. Whereas
Indeed.
in qualifying this morning, basically, I think previously strategic options using the slipstream didn't quite work, so these drivers were going out on their own, setting laps totally independent to each other, so it was really impressive. We've got another time penalty coming in for car 66. That's Chovanec again, so he's now got 5 seconds in total to be added to his race time, as the latest penalty is 3 seconds. Isn't going to impact his race position though. He's still 11th, and Josh Mason is still in the pits.
The penultimate lap of the race, Jack Crawford on his way to victory. He is 6.5 seconds ahead of Louis Foster. And Cameron Dass still trying to find his way by the English driver in 2nd. Reshad De Gueris, Chembolek Bassi, Natsim Asman, a good drive from the Malaysian in 6th place. This time he gets the toe, does Cameron Dass, as they race down the back straight into the right-hander. Too far back to dive down and make a move. So Zdeněk Chovanec, another penalty for the Czech driver. Jack on your screen, there is the gravel that's been kicked up by multiple cars throughout the race. The sole retirement, the Englishman Josh Mason, will chalk another one up for Jack in just a few moments, you would think. Goes through the Jochenring corners for the penultimate time here in Austria and comes across the line to get the last lap board now. Jack Crawford on his way to victory. Will it be an American 1-2? We'll find out in just over 4 kilometres time. Louis Foster in second place. So Cameron Dass needs the best possible run through turn 1 as he races up the hill for the final time. Tries to get the toe. Louis Foster knows it. He goes to his right, trying to break the slipstream of Cameron Dass behind him. He closes in on the back of Foster. Will he dive down the inside as they race up the hill? Not this time. The final lap of the race. This time he's very close to the back of Louis Foster. There is Richard de Geris in the background. Foster puts the car in the middle of the circuit. Cameron Dass says, no problem, I'll try the outside. Foster drives brilliantly, defensively, holds on to second place. He's second in the championship. Remember, this is first and second in the 2021 Euroformula Open Championship. Jack Crawford gets a whole bag full of points here this afternoon. Despite missing the odd round in 2021, he has been a revelation. He won in Imola, he will do it again. The Red Bull Junior here at the Red Bull Ring. Jetpack Jack Crawford, Texas Ranger, wins race 1 of Euroformula Open. Louis Foster will just hold off the championship leader, Cameron Dass, as they come across the line. Crawford 1, Foster 2, and Dass as Team Motor Park celebrate down in pit lane. Dass is in third. We apply that penalty to Richard de Geris. And Cem Bologbashi inherits fourth place. A good drive from Cem. Richard on debut in Euroformula. A jump start penalty, but it was a great driving performance by the boy from the Reunion Islands in the Indian Ocean to finish in P5. First time out here in Austria in Euroformula. Another victory for Jack. This has just been brilliant for the American. The class of the field. He won by 6.9, let's call it 7 seconds. He led away from the start, and from there they simply did not see which way the American went. Trying to quickly count, I believe that is Jack's 5th, possibly 6th victory of 2021. I'll tell you in just a moment. He takes the victory in race 1, does Crawford. Foster second place, Dass in third. Then it's Cem Bologbashi with that penalty. Richard de Geris finishes P5 from Atzman, Villa Gomez, Stevenson, Enzo Trulli, and welcome back Brad Benavides, who rounds out the top 10 just behind his Carlin Racing teammate. With those penalties, multiple penalties, not the best race for Zdeněk Chovanec. He finishes in position 11. Enzo Shanti brings it home in 12th place, ahead of Philip Caminias and Josh Mason, who pulled into pit lane just a few laps from the checkered flag, the only non-finisher. So this is the Drivers' Championship. Look at that, just 1 point between Cameron Dass and Louis Foster. Jack Crawford moves into third place. Well, he was in third place, but he's closed the gap on Foster, 207 to 242. So 1 point, 243 to 242 between Dass and Foster. Here is the race winner who pulls down into pit lane. The Red Bull Junior at the Red Bull Ring takes the race 1 victory. We'll try and get a word with Jack in just a moment. Nice helmet from Louis Foster with the Union Jack on the back. A very colourful helmet from Louis, I must admit. Had not noticed that before. Jack Crawford with another victory in the 2021 Euroformula Open Championship. Great to see his father, Tim, was able to make the long trip over the Atlantic Ocean to be with his boy here this weekend. And he's made the trip worthwhile. Takes the victory in race 1.
The weighing or?
Weighing is there.
Oh, okay.
Third place, Cameron Dass, with that does just hold the championship lead by a single point over Louis Foster, who finishes in second place in car 27. No one, once again, could stop Jack Crawford, who takes another victory in the 2021 Euroformula Open Championship. Let's hear from the race winner now.
Jack Crawford, I think you really wanted this one.
Yeah, it was a good one, and a good one for America for sure. Obviously, 20 years ago now it is, was a tragic event. So, yeah, a good one for the country, and yeah, for myself as well. To gain back the points was a bit, I'd say, an easier one today, as I didn't have much pressure. But yeah, excited with the win, and hopefully a few more this weekend. So.
And you like particularly this circuit?
Yeah, one of my favorite circuits for sure. Being Red Bull's home track as well, it's nice to win here. So yeah, one of my favorite tracks, and yeah, really happy to win here. So.
Well done.
Thank you.
All the best.
Exceptionally well spoken by the American Jack Crawford on what is a significant day for the USA. Let's take a look at the highlights of race 1. Crawford from pole position. That was the superstar from Richard de Geris. It was too good, and ultimately the French driver on debut in Euroformula would be given a 5-second penalty. Cameron Dass and Louis Foster. It was a hectic start. They went wheel to wheel for the entire 21 laps here at the Red Bull Ring. Zdeněk Chovanec, this was a nice move to go through and take the pole of Philippe Cominiaz in the opening stages of the race. But Chovanec had multiple penalties applied. Josh Mason was not the first driver to run off the circuit, and the Englishman would ultimately retire. Philippe Cominiaz going round, lucky to keep the 88 car off the wall. Foster and Dass wheel to wheel throughout the duration of this race. Foster would finish in second place, and that's where he lies in the championship going into race 2 tomorrow. Another moment for Josh Mason before he would retire. Out front, Jack was gone. Another faultless drive. And the Red Bull Junior at the Red Bull Ring takes the checkered flag. And in just a moment, he will stand on the top step of the podium. Louis Foster holds off Cameron Dass by just 0.26 of a second to take second place, and Cameron on the podium in third. Louis Foster into second, and how good is this to see the two American drivers on the podium on this September 11. This is not a day to commiserate. This is a day to celebrate to everyone watching us live in the United States of America. Your boys, two of them on the podium here this afternoon. Congratulations, Jack Crawford with another victory here in Euroformula Open. We'll be back to do it tomorrow morning as Jack Crawford takes another victory here in the Euroformula Open Championship. The pace of the weekend, Cameron Dass second, Cameron Dass third, Louis Foster in second place, and Jack Crawford, another victory here at the Red Bull Ring. Thank you for watching us. We'll see you for race 2 tomorrow from the Red Bull Ring here in Austria.